Hey travelers, so today we are talking about transportation for your next vacation, whether it's shuttles, whether it's a taxi, or whether it's Uber, and how you can save a lot of money on this. So if you enjoy the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. So if you're traveling to Mexico, there are a lot of different options for you to get around when you land initially. If you're on a package tour, chances are very good that your transportation is included. So if it's a Canadian package, Transat, Sunwing, WestJet, or Air Canada, all of those are going to include transportation to and from the resort. Now it's going to be a shared shuttle, which means to say there's going to be multiple stops along the way as they drop off people to the different resorts along the way. But at least it's included, so you don't need to pay anything extra. Now, if you want to circumvent that and be first to arrive at your hotel, you can hop in a taxi or you can book a separate private shuttle. If you are doing that and you already have the shared shuttle arranged in your package, please be considerate to those who will be waiting for you to let them know that you're taking a separate transportation, because otherwise they're going to wait for you. They're going to think you got stuck in customs or you're waiting for your bag or something like that. So just give them a quick heads up that you've taken care of it, you're on your way, and then they can scratch you off the list and they can get everybody else on their way as quick as possible. Now, if your package does not come with transportation, you can pre-book a shuttle, and you'll need to do that. Generally speaking, it's 36 to 72 hours prior to your arrival. If you try to do it within 24 hours, unless you got connections, it's just not going to happen. They do need to know earlier than that in order to make arrangements. There's options of shared shuttle, which has the multiple stops, or you can do a private shuttle, which would be basically like a direct non-stop ride right to your hotel. The other option that you have from basically most of the main airports, Puerto Vallarta, Cabo, Puerto Vallarta and Cabo at least, is you can take a taxi. And from Puerto Vallarta, taxis are quite inexpensive. Cabo, they tend to be very expensive. It is still an option though. It certainly lends itself to a bit more spontaneity. So if you want to stop for a beer before you even head to the resort, you can. Now, if you want to take an Uber, Uber is restricted in a lot of areas. The taxi unions are not happy having competition, and therefore they restrict access. So the airport property itself, resorts, that kind of thing, there's a lot of them that are restricting access for Uber drivers. So you just need to bear that in mind. Now, it doesn't mean to say you can't do it, it just requires a little bit of workaround. Give you an example pricing wise. With the Uber app, when you put in your route, it's going to give you an example of pricing, and you can check that out. If it's a peak time and there's a lot of demand, the price is going to be higher than normal. However, you can always compare that with your the bell desk at the hotel to see what the route would normally cost on a taxi. Most of the taxi rates are regulated, so they can give you a really good idea of what you would expect to pay. And of course, you should always verify the price before you get in the taxi, just to make sure. And if it turns out that Uber is cheaper, which it usually will be, then that might be a better route for you to consider. So as an example, last August, I flew into Cabo, and I had one night staying at Reflect Los Cabos, which is just on the outskirts of San Jose del Cabo. And I was only there one night, and then I was meeting colleagues at the Blanc the next day. And, you know, it's just easier to take a taxi. I didn't have a shuttle arranged. And so I figured out what time I was going to leave, and I just headed over to the resort. The taxi was about $40, which was a pretty huge kick in the gut, considering it's like a 13-kilometer ride. You know, certainly in Greater Vancouver, where I live, you would not pay that kind of price for a ride that short. But it is what it is. Taxis in Cabo have always been on the pricier side. So then we flipped over to Grand Vallis. We were there for a few nights, and then my colleagues were leaving, and I mentioned the whole $40 fiasco to them, and they actually suggested, why don't I take an Uber, because I was staying extra. I was going to be back in San Jose del Cabo at the lovely Hyatt Ziva. And you know, I've heard a lot of back and forth about Uber's good, Uber's bad, that kind of thing. And actually a male colleague pointed out to me, you know, you're traveling as a single woman, and it's actually a safer way to go is via Uber. And he explained why, which I totally didn't know. I mean, think about it. You get into a taxi, unless you literally go to the front of the vehicle and take a picture of their license plate, you're just in a taxi, and it's probably marked, but you're one of many on the road. So if something happens, yeah, you can pick up your phone, you can dial the local police if you know the number, and you can try to explain that you're having a problem, but really, how are they gonna find you? I mean, sure, you can track where you're at on the map, but beyond that, it's gonna be tricky. So here's the significant difference with Uber. As soon as you book your ride, and of course, you put in the route, it'll tell you what the projected price will be. It tells you, once it confirms the driver, it sends you a message saying your driver's name is bleh, and the vehicle license plate number is whatever. It tells you the type of vehicle it is. So you know if the vehicle is driving up, you know which one that you're going to be getting into. There's no concern that way. Plus you've got it in your records in the Uber app. Now, as you begin your journey, it shows you on the map, and again, this is all assuming you're using data, but it shows you where you are relative to your destination. So you can see if they're taking on the long and windy road or if they're doing the most direct route. And if something were to happen along the way, what's really cool is that there's an actual emergency button that you can push, and it'll basically notify dispatch, and they will dispatch help to you at your location because they know exactly where all the cars are all low jacked. So they know where all the cars are, and they can send help to you right then and there. So that part was really cool. Plus at the end of it, I got a receipt via email, so even better. The kicker, here, this is gonna kill you. $40 US via taxi to get a slightly shorter distance, and then for about an extra half a kilometer total duration ride, I paid $6 US. 6. Like, I gave the guy 10 bucks because why wouldn't I, right? And so, yeah, it works out really, really well. If you are going to be, especially if you're staying in the corridor in between Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo, maybe you want to go into town. Thursday night, they have the art walk in San Jose del Cabo. Quite interesting. You get wine, so check out some local galleries, that kind of thing. Maybe you want to go dancing. You want to go to Cabo Wabo or Senior Frogs or something in Cabo San Lucas. Easy. Hop in a taxi, boom, you're there. Hop in an Uber, boom, you're there. And for very little cost. Because imagine if you had to take a few rides into town at 40 bucks a pop, you're going to blow your travel budget really quickly. So I strongly recommend that you check that out. Again, shuttle is a great option, but it has to be pre-booked. Taxis, great, easy, spontaneous, but you don't get a receipt, and paying by credit card, good luck. And more expensive. Uber, get a receipt, you can pre-book, you can see the rate before you go, it's secure, and it's cheap. So something to consider. Give it a try on your next trip, and let me know how it was. If you've done Uber before, let me know what your experience was. So hope that works for you. Give it a try on your next trip and let us know how it goes, and we'll see you next time.